Hello and welcome to the video. This is a quick video and a revisit of something that I looked at a few months ago. This is the HolyBro PixHawk 6C. Now this again is a PixHawk piece of hardware put inside a very rugged little case with a slightly unusual design. Now there's lots of options for different PixHawk hardware systems, and it's just worthwhile explaining a little bit about some of the names here. PixHawk refers to the hardware, the physical flight controller like this one from HolyBro, and there are lots of different options. There are lots of different software that can run on a PixHawk, things like PX4, things like ArduPilot. Personally, I really like the ArduPilot family of technologies. In the ArduPilot family, there's ArduCopter, ArduPlane, ArduBoat, ArduRover, ArduSub. There's even all the VTOL stuff as well. And the VTOL stuff is something that I've been using recently in that Ranger T1 conversion that I've been doing. So you don't need a PixHawk flight controller, the physical flight controller itself, to run ArduPilot, but there are distinct advantages. Now, PixHawks tend to be a lot more expensive, but they provide a lot of additional benefits over a lot of the other cheaper flight controllers. Chief among them being things like redundant sensors, things like internal heating, so make sure that the IMU doesn't drift because of temperature changes. There's also support for some pretty advanced stuff, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Now this PixHawk 6C is very similar to some of the others that you've already seen on the channel, and again I visited and talked about this back in summer. Also has a H7 processor, also has a redundant IMU design, also has a heating element inside. Now this one is a little bit different. It's an all-in-one non-modular design, resulting in a slightly more affordable price because it's a little bit more modular. And this very small flight controller means that you can kind of sneak this away anywhere on the model that you want. And then you have the PWM module that up to 2 of these can be connected in, and that's where you can connect everything up to it. It means that it is much more lower profile and smaller than some of the other PixHawks that are about. It's the successor really to the popular and reliable PixHawk 4. So if you were looking at something like that but want something based on a modern standard, then this is probably a better choice, because it does follow the PixHawk FMU V6C standard and connector standard. It's plug and play with many of the other accessories and other manufacturers that follow this connector standard, such as people like CubePilot here, series GPSs, CUAV GPSs and everything as well. Now I'm going to be using this GPS here from HolyBro in part of my build. This is the M8N GPS, the latest version. And it does represent a cheaper way to get into using ArduPilot using PixHawk technology without going to the higher end stuff where you have the separate flight controller, the cube style setup where you have a different daughter board as well. Now the reason that I'm revisiting this and kind of talking about this in a little bit more detail is that I am going to shortly starting a PixHawk 2023 series. I'm going to be building with this specific flight controller on the top of the HolyBro X500 V2 quad frame, because it's about time we did an update. Last time I did it was back in 2020 and a few things have changed. Let's go through and show how relatively simple and easy it is to use a flight controller like this to set up ArduPilot and have all that benefits of things like the redundancy and other stuff too. But I've also got my hands on some of the other cool technologies like the RTK GPS systems, which give you super accurate GPS locations. And if I have a model that's built with something like this PixHawk 6C from HolyBro, then I've got a platform that we can potentially have a look at that stuff as well. That stuff tends to be used not for modelers like me, but I've had lots of interest in it from people who want to use it and things like agriculture and archaeology. Potentially, I've also got a line on some new lower cost gimbal systems, which would be perfect to put on a model like this to go and test them out. So stay tuned, there is going to be a lot more covered in this. But this, if you don't want to spend a fortune on one of the cube style PixHawk flight controllers, this is a way that you can get into it and it doesn't cost quite as much. Thank you for spending your time today watching that video. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you're trying to learn about a subject, then check out the playlist. All of my videos are organized into easy to follow playlists that if you're trying to learn a topic will take you from the basics right the way through to some pretty advanced stuff.